Okay, so Saturday, I was so excited to attend the we called it the Empower Women's Expo. We had it in Coleman, Alabama, and Teresa and Deborah and Sharon and their team put it on. And oh my gosh, y'all, it was amazing. We had a guy from the sheriff's department there teaching self-defense. We had a girl from Dance to Fit there that was teaching like Zumba and how to do like all of these things in whatever level, you were comfortable in. We had an attorney there that was talking about estate planning. We had a lady from Edwards Jones there talking about investments and stocks and just things we need to know. We had Sharon was talking about skincare, and I learned like to use this finger to rub things. It has the least pressure. I learned all kinds of stuff about skincare that I didn't know. But we started the morning off with this beautiful lady who, when she spoke, she had so much conviction in her voice, and it just drew me in. And it was just like, she was like my soulmate. I mean, the way I speak to you guys and the things that I speak to you guys about, and about getting out of your own head, and about, your mind is your biggest battlefield that you have. And y'all are going to freak out when y'all hear this, but she has written a devotional and it is published, but it's called Limitless. Do you not love that? How many times do we say the only limits in your life are the ones that you put on yourself? So when oh gosh, I called Teresa. I mean, I think it was that afternoon. I said, we have to have her. She had to leave. I was going to buy her a book and I was going to do this. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gone. But I told Teresa, I said, we've got to have her on her training. Everything she spoke, it was just pouring into your heart and your spirit. And it's exactly the things that we talk about on a daily basis in order to just survive life, and to do this business, and to just get out of your own way, and to quit talking down to yourself, and quit telling yourself you're not good enough, because you just need to straighten your crown because you're a daughter of the King of Kings, So I asked her if she would come on and just share her heart, share what she shared Saturday because it was perfect, or whatever is on her heart that she wants to share. But I am so honored and so excited to introduce you to this beautiful lady, and her name is Savannah Lee. I guess it's Savannah Lee Smith, but it's Savannah Lee. So can you unmute?
Yes. Hello. Can everybody hear me? Good?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Yes, my name is Savannah Lee Smith. I use my middle name for my book, just in the case that I get married one day, hopefully, Lord willing. But it's Savannah Lee Smith, and I'm a Christian author. I'm going to move my paper up here where I can see it. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at, guys. I'm a Christian author based out of Coleman, Alabama. And I graduated from Liberty University with a bachelor's degree in business administration and a minor in Christian counseling. I'm an author and I'm a speaker. I'm 27, so I published this in 2016, but we'll get there soon. So in 2015, I was a leader of a middle school small group, in a girls' small group at church. And every time we met, I saw these girls just struggling. When you just see people and they're just like, you can see that they're trying to process things. They're trying to work through it. They're trying to just figure out everything. That's what I kept seeing in their faces and in their hearts, and just, they wanted answers, but they didn't know where to start or where to go or what to actually look for. And all I wanted to do was pour into them. I wanted to encourage them and empower them. And so I started sending out weekly text messages, literally on my phone. I just started sending out a verse that God put in my heart that morning and what God showed me through that verse. And it was just a small group of probably less than 10 people at that point. I then felt led to open that up to Facebook. When people post on there and say, hey, would anybody like me to add them to the list that I send out each week of an encouraging message? And soon that message went out to over 100 people. Y'all, God was moving in ways that I was like, oh, no, that's too many people. No, I can't do that. But God had a plan. And he was encouraging and he was empowering souls. Um, my mom, who was at the event Saturday, she always kept saying, Savannah, you need to write a book. Savannah, you need to write a book. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I am not writing a book. And turns out she was right. Any moms on here like to hear that you're right? Yeah, she does too. She really likes it when I tell her that she was right about this. But you see, I saw my writing as a weakness. I saw it as something that I poured my heart out on a plate, and then people were going to look at it. They were going to read it. They were going to judge it. They were going to, whatever. And it terrified me. And she was right though. And these messages I sent out every week turned into this book, Limitless, which is a 60-day devotional book that God allowed me to publish. And it's funny how it happened. Mom actually signed me up for a publishing company, and they kept calling me saying, hey, we heard you're writing a book. And I'm like, nope, I'm not. Well, it turns out in the end I did. So, but while I was publishing this book, Limitless, I can remember exactly where I was at. I worked at the Chamber of Commerce as an intern, and I was sitting at the desk, and God started putting on my heart the idea of a book of testimonies. And the thing about that terrified me. Like the idea of gathering testimonies to have other people share with me their most vulnerable moments. And the truth is, like, I might not have even known these people. I just knew like them as acquaintances. I didn't know them as like, people that you hang out with every day. And the fact that God wanted me to go and ask these people to share their story, no, you crazy, crazy. Anybody ever had that happen? Like God was calling you to do something that seemed like absolutely insane? Yeah, that was me. And it terrified me. I had so many questions. How was I going to find these people? How was I just supposed to go up to them and ask them to say like, hey, God's put you on my heart. Can you share your whole entire life story with me? Oh, by the way, I'm going to put it in a book. Yeah, I was terrified. But I knew deep down in my heart this book was needed. I knew that people needed to hear things that weren't shared out loud. You know those things that people just hide in their hearts and they carry with them their entire lives and may only share it with their spouse. Those things needed to be shared because there was someone out there that needed to hear that they weren't alone. And the thing is now in 2022, 7 years later, 7 years, God planted that seed in my heart. And 7 years later, I get to see this book come to life. It is called For the One. And hopefully it will be released in the next few months. We are in like editorial stage of publishing right now. So I have the cover finished and all of that, but I get to see this dream that God planted in my heart come to life, all because I was willing to be scared. It's okay to be scared and still step into it. It doesn't have to keep you from doing what God's called you to do. We can be scared and still move into that. So the truth is, I may not be able to relate to your entire story. I don't know your names on here, but I may not be able to relate to your story or your story or your story. I'm looking at y'all on my little screens here. But the truth is, I can relate to one part of one of your stories. And that's what matters. It's about the one. One person is all that matters. My first book signing, all my friends and family showed up, but one person came. And I'm not going to lie, I cried to you all the way home because I knew that one person was all that mattered. And it's about bringing hope to the ones who feel like they're all alone and they might feel like they want to give up. Anyone on here ever felt like you just want to give up? You felt completely and totally alone in the world? I know I have. I went through 10 years of pain and sickness and felt completely and totally alone. Which brings me to tonight, to our our meeting here. Each of you in this room has a story that someone in this world needs to hear. Each of you in this room has gifts and talents that others in this world need you to use. No matter what season you're in, or what job you have, or what responsibilities fall on your shoulders, you have an opportunity to change generations. That one person that you can reach with your story, when you share your story or use your gifts, can take what they share or how you make them feel. How you make someone feel can literally be carried on through the rest of that person's life. So it matters how you treat people. It matters what you say to them, One word of encouragement can truly change generations. And that just fires me up. Those people can go on to not only tell their children, but their grandchildren, and then they carry it on to their children and grandchildren. Today, you have the opportunity to not only change other people's lives, but also change your future. Anyone in here ever made a big shift in their life, like from one thing to the other, different jobs, or maybe moving? I see some hands raised. Um, it's kind of terrifying, isn't it? Anybody ever been completely terrified? Yeah, I pretty much live in that stage. In case anybody's wondering on here, but you can move from surviving to thriving. And you need to know today that what you do matters, but not just about what you do, but who you are and who you become matters. All it takes is one step, one single second of courage to be willing to say yes. My first book, Limitless, started off as one encouraging message to a group of middle school small group girls. And now I've personally sold over 1,000 copies of this book. And God gets all the glory for that. And my book For the One started out as an idea God planted in my heart that absolutely terrified me. Y'all heard me talking about it. I was scared to death. I was, let's see, I'm 27. That was 7 years ago. I was 20. Like, I think I might have did the math wrong. If not, y'all get what I'm saying. 7 years ago, I was 20 and God was calling me to write this book. And now this book is 14 people's stories that share their deepest, darkest moments for the world to read so that it maybe helps one person. And I'm already seeing God use this book to heal people and to bring hope to people. And this book hasn't even been released yet. And God gets all the glory for that. It all starts with little things. What habits are you creating that line up with what God is calling you to do? How are you showing up today? Will your future self be thanking you, or will they be like, hey, come on, like nudging you? Come on, get your life together. Anybody feel like your future self might do that sometimes to you? And it's funny, Melissa, what you said. On the way here, I was just praying over what to say tonight, and God put this on my heart. How are you talking to yourself? That seems like a big thing, but it's really a little thing. How are you talking to yourself right now? Are you talking to your I'm my worst critic. Anybody else? Like I'm bad, real bad about it. Are you talking down to yourself? Or are you talking to yourself like your child or your friend that's sitting across the table from you? Are you empowering yourself to do what God's calling you to do? I once had someone tell me this: say yes to everything that lines up with what God is calling you to do, and say no to everything else. I also had a coach explain it to me this way: we are all spinning plates. Anybody in here spin a lot of plates every single day, wearing multiple hats, juggle multiple things? Looks like we're all ladies on here, so we all can raise both hands, right? Some of those plates that we're spinning are glass, and some of those plates are plastic. We determine what is glass and what is plastic. Some of those things that are glass are fixing to fall to the ground and shatter because we're so focused on the plastic plates that shouldn't be getting all of our attention right now. Those glass plates are important. You know that china that you keep in your cabinets that you never really use? Yeah, some of those things are those china plates that don't need to fall to the ground and shatter. But some of those plastic plates, it's okay to let them fall. It's okay to let go of them and say, it's all right. Like, it's okay. We'll pick it up when we can. What are you investing your time in? What are you focused on right now? Is it the things that actually matter, or in the thing that God's actually calling you to do? Or is it a bunch of things that are distracting you from what God is actually calling you to do? Let me tell you, I've been there too. All them things that you're trying to keep from falling apart, and God's like, would you let it fall apart? Come on, like just let it fall apart. It's okay. It's all right. I'm really bad about that, so I'll be the first one to admit, okay, you're not alone. What are you saying yes to in your life that is actually a stumbling block instead of a stepping stone to where you want to be? Where do you want to be? It's not about accomplishments, but it's about who you want to become in the future. Are you willing to say yes to the things that terrify you, that you probably see as a weakness? Y'all, I see writing as a weakness. This right here is my heart poured out on a page, and I didn't want anybody to see it. But I'm glad I did, because the amount of people that God has used this book to help makes it all worth it. And that's not because of me, but because of him. Are you are you are you going to do the things that make you face your fears and that strengthen your faith, that build your character? Or are you going to choose to stay where you are because it's comfortable, because it seems easier? Because I've been there too. I've been at the job that has the title and the benefits and the money. But honestly, if I really looked at it, I was miserable. I've also said yes to the thing that is out of the norm, and God used it to allow me to become the person I am today. He was preparing me for what he had prepared for me. The choice is up to you today, and I promise if you say yes, God is faithful and he will provide. I'm living proof of that. Today, I'm just going to share this because I've got to share it. Today, my editor called me and they wanted to, this ain't in my notes, ladies. This is just a God thing. I was stressing out because my editor wanted to do another edit and it was going to cost over $1,000. And I was like, Lord, I literally just quit my job. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I sat down and I prayed and I was like, okay, Lord, like, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to give it to you. I took a nap because I was real stressed out, been crying all morning. And while I was taking a nap, someone called me and they paid for the full editorial in full, all over $1,000. And that's the kind of faithfulness that God shows up. That's the kind of faithfulness that the Lord that we serve has. He is faithful. Within a few hours, he had answered a prayer that I was stressed out about and that I didn't know how we were going to do it. But he's faithful. And if he's called you to do something, I promise you he's going to see you through it. And if you need a reminder, I encourage you to read the book of Nehemiah. In that book, he leaves a job of high, like a high title job, and he goes to do God's work. And it's just such an encouraging book of the Bible. And that's how God encouraged me these last few weeks of making a big decision about my life. Am I going to stay where I'm at, or am I going to choose to follow God and be obedient to what he's calling me to do, which is to write full time? God loves you so much. And he doesn't only want to just call you to do whatever it is that he's calling you to do. He wants to walk alongside you in it. And that's what's cool to me. He's a personal God. He doesn't just say, all right, you got it, sis. Go on, do your thing. He says, hey, sis, let me hold your hand. Let me carry you sometimes when you can't do it yourself. Let me walk alongside you as we do what I'm calling you to do. I'd like to end this with a question, and this is my absolute favorite question in the entire world. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you be doing? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you be doing? I love watching people's faces in this when I ask this question because they're always like, oh, I've only had maybe 2 or 3 people be like, I'm doing exactly what it is. I'm like, okay, awesome, you go. But so many people aren't doing what God's calling them to do because they're afraid they might fail. But isn't that the point? To fail, to keep going, to grow, to become stronger, to adjust, to adapt, to maneuver into all those different places that challenge us and grow us. And if it's fear that's keeping you from doing what God has called you to do, or that thing that if you knew you couldn't fail, you would be doing, I want to challenge you with this verse. It's 2 Timothy 1:7. For God hath not given us given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 weeks ago, I turned in my notice to a job that I absolutely love with people I adore because God was calling me to do something out of the ordinary. Am I terrified? Yeah. Even today, you saw in that story that I'm a little scared, but that's okay because I'm equally excited about what God's doing and what he's called me to do because he is faithful. And I know that God will be with you guys too, and whatever it is. And I pray that this sticks with you, that question, if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you be doing, stays in the back of your mind, that you challenge yourself of what would I be doing if I knew I couldn't fail? And what's stopping me from doing that today? because ultimately the choice is up to you. You get to choose how you live your life today and forever. Who do you want to become in 90 days, 6 months, a year, 5 years? What do you want to regret not doing that thing that gets you completely out of your comfort zone? The question is, will you be willing to say yes? And will you be willing to get out of your comfort zone? And I know that God will meet you there when you do, because he's met me there time and time again, even in the last 2 weeks. And it's the coolest, most exciting adventure I think I've ever been on. And we're just getting started. So.
Oh my gosh. So, first of all, I love you so much. Did y'all see the parallels in everything that she said? Were you looking at what she was saying and just paralleling it to what we do? She said, first she said she wasn't writing a book. She was not going to write a book. How many of us says we are not going to do this business? I mean, I was a hard no. I am not doing this. No, no, no. And she said she had no idea how she was going to figure everything out. She didn't know where to start, but she knew she wanted to pour into others. Hello? Is that not us? Is that not us at the very beginning? And then she did a 60-day devotional. We're doing a 60-day hard. I mean, it was like everything. She's doing her For the One is a book of testimonies of people sharing their stories. We have our results group because everybody doesn't relate to your story, right? Everybody, that everyone can relate to a little bit of somebody's. I love that so much. And God was telling her to ask strangers to share. Hello. Oh my gosh. And then her new book is called For the One. And we do this even if it's only for one person. You don't know who it's going to affect. That one person is worth it all. And it's okay to be scared. Do it scared. And when people are reading that book, they're bringing hope to that one person. How does that parallel with what we do? We pour into others and we lift others up. And oh God, and y'all know when she said people aren't going to remember, that people are going to remember how you make them feel. So they're not going to remember what you do. They're not going to remember what you say, but I promise you, people are going to remember how you make them feel. And I believe what she said, that they will tell people how they felt when they were around you. She said it's just one step of courage. That's all it is. And what are you doing now? Will your future self be high-fiving you, or will your future self be nudging you to do more than what you're doing right now? I mean, my Lord, everything she said is stuff that we talk about every single week. Do you believe in yourself? Or is this stopping you right here? Is the person in the mirror putting limits on what you're doing? Where's your focus? What is the plastic plate that you can let go of that you are trying to keep spinning? There's a lot. I mean, is it TV? Is it scrolling Facebook? Is it making unnecessary lists? Is it being negative? Is it arguing with people? What is it? What is the plastic plates that's choking you of energy? You can either stay where you are, you can step outside your comfort zone into greatness. And then if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you be doing? How would you be acting? What kind of leader would you be? If you knew you couldn't fail, would you be doing more and being a different person than you are today? Oh, my word. Miss Savannah, girl, you are wise beyond your years. And I am so thankful that God put this into your life. And I want every single person on here, every single person that listens to this recording, I want you to tell us where your website is. And I want every single one of us to go and buy her book to support this ministry that she's in, because my goodness, I mean, if a 27-year-old can speak to a 51-year-old, and I mean, I'm telling you, if God is using this girl, and he has put a greatness in her, and he has put a gift in her that people need, and she needs our support. So everybody unmute and tell us where we can go and buy your books. Can we buy both of them now or just one?
The second book is not out yet. It hasn't been released yet, so we've got a couple months for it. But the first book, you can go to Savvy Reads. I'll put it right here in the .com.
Yeah. Will somebody copy it when she puts it in and put it on the leaders page?
There you go. It's Savvy Reads with two V's .com. So savvyreads.com.
Okay.
And then yes, it's called Limitless by Savannah Lee, Leigh. And
so
it
go
looks
buy
like
one for you and go buy one to gift to somebody, because my word. And then share this recording with them, because I mean, what she has said, everybody needs to hear, not just with their singular business, but it's about life, y'all. It's about all of these things that she's talking about. I was just blown away though Saturday when she was speaking. I was like, oh, I just said that. I said that 2 weeks ago. I mean, it was just like, oh my goodness. And I was just so amazed at how it parallels with everything we believe, everything we teach, everything that we want to give people, because, our job is building relationships with people. Our job is not selling a system. Our job is about pouring into other people and building those relationships and making people feel like they've got a sign around their neck that says, I'm the most important person in the world, that make me feel like I'm the most important person in the world, and that you're doing it. Every single person you come in contact with, you lift them up and make them feel like nobody else makes them feel, because they're going to remember that. They're not going to remember one bit about you talking about the zing and how amazing it is, or you talking about, what you have for them. They're going to remember how you looked at them. They're going to remember the smile that you gave them, and they're going to remember how they felt inside when they left you. And it's all about those relationships. And gosh, I am so encouraged tonight. I've got notes after notes again, and this is on top of what I had. So can I open it up to questions? Does anybody have any questions for her? Does anybody have any comments? Does anybody have any words of encouragement they want to give her? I'm just going to open it up for a second. She's just stepping into this journey, and she has walked away from her career. And I can tell you that's scary to let the Lord just, step out in faith and let him catch you when you're scared to do something. I've done it. So can somebody unmute and y'all got something to say?
Well, Savannah, I think you're awesome. I think you do a great job, and I was so glad that you came this weekend. And the Lord is just blessing you and blessing us through you. So thank you.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what I tell myself and other people on my team. You are in the right place at the right time. And let me tell you, you had me about in tears. I mean, my eyes, it was taking everything I had, because everything that you say is so relatable. And I mean, it really touched me, and I appreciate your words, and I appreciate you pouring into us tonight, because it is definitely something that I needed to hear. And you are amazing. And I can't believe that you're 27. You have got such an amazing path ahead of you. And I mean, kudos for grabbing a hold of that and listening to God. So I will definitely be praying for you and your path. And I just thank you for everything you gave us tonight. That was amazing.
Thank you guys so much. That's I needed to hear that. Thank you.
Next.
I think you're awesome. And I want you to know that I wrote buy her book before Melissa said, go buy her book. So I was already on board. So we don't have to be told to do that. You're awesome.
Anybody else? God, y'all are being shy tonight. Well, I can speak for everybody and say that we wish you well on this path. We wish you well on this journey. And we know that there is greatness ahead for you, girl. There is a platform ahead for you to speak to speak this into women, because especially young women, not just young women, but young women, middle-aged women, older women, and senior women, everybody needs to hear that, exactly what you just said, because if you have a pulse, you have a purpose. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You still have, you are breathing a breath, you have a purpose here. And so many times our self-doubt holds us back, and we give ourselves excuses that we can't do this because of this, and we can't do this because of that. But the only person that's telling you that is you and the lies of the devil. That's it. So I love you guys so much. And does anybody else got anything I want to say before we end it? Going once.
I was just going to say thank you, Savannah. It was really good. And I'll be praying for you too while you're on your journey with what the Lord has for you to do. And I'll be buying your book, and good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. And thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate it, and all of your encouragement and prayers. Very much so. Thank you.
Savannah, as one of the seniors here, I'm very proud of you. You really encouraged me too. You're just an inspiration for all of us at any age.
I love that. Thank you. All right. Last call. All right. We got, it's the 23rd. We still got a little bit over a week left of this month. So y'all go get it. And I'm going to go ahead and declare Ephesians 3:20 over you. God is going to do exceedingly abundantly more than we can think or ask, because we honor him. His blessings are going to chase us down and overtake us. We are in the right place at the right time. And I declare a boldness to rise up in each one of you. God is going to open supernatural doors. People are going to seek us out, and we are going to rise in the ranks because we give him the honor and glory for it all. Love you guys. Good night. We'll see you next Monday. Thank you. Thank you, Savannah.